secret. Don't tell anybody. Alright. Are you watching? Rope through. Hang it. Come down. One time. Just like that. That's all you need. I set up a little bit later than I wanted because I forgot my bow at home. And I had to turn around and go get it. Luckily, my wife is a saint. She put it in her car and met me halfway. So I didn't lose too much time. It's about 4:30. I probably would have been in here about 3:45, 3:50, but it is what it is. I'm not really expecting movement until right before dark anyways. It's October 20th. A little breezy tonight. I'm in a stand that's right on a corner of a piece of woods. What I believe we have going on here is most likely deer bedded to my north. There's a long wooded point that they like to bed on in there. I'm sure there's plenty of acorns. There's a swamp beyond that, which is where I shot that 8-pointer a couple years ago out of my saddle, right up that direction. I believe that's the main bedding. To my south, not in this immediate field behind me, but the next field beyond that is a freshly picked bean field, and I've seen a bunch of does feeding in it right at dark. So what I'm hoping is that we're going to get some bucks, hopefully, coming out of this bedding area. Historically, there's some scrapes in front of this stand. I haven't checked to see if they're there, but they're pretty much there every year. I'm going to assume that they're going to be there again. There's no reason for them not to be. So I'm hoping they're going to move through from the north, come down into here, check these scrapes before dark, and then head out across this field, go into the food that direction. That's what I'm hoping for. What I picture in my mind rarely, if ever, happens. But if it does happen, it'd be pretty cool. Hopefully I see some deer tonight. I do not like this Sam I am. I need to make these holes bigger. Looks like 2 adult does and a fawn. Probably making their way down towards those beans. a fawn come all the way across this field, come down in front of me, we'll go into the woods. A little while after they went in there, I started hearing grunting. And I'm like, alright, this time of year, it's probably a halfway decent buck. All of a sudden, the doe and the fawn come out behind me, and she kind of gets a little spooky, probably got my wind. They take off across the field. I can hear the buck still in the woods. Sure enough, he comes right through down here, but it's so dark, I couldn't figure out what deer it was, and I've made way too many mistakes shooting deer when I think they're other deer. So I didn't get a good enough look at him to shoot him here. As he went into the brush, I figured out what deer it was. He's a 4-year-old 9-pointer with like a crooked G3 on his left. And I was like, oh, that's that 9, I'll shoot him. He's gonna come right out in here. He came out in here, I came to full draw. I kind of got hung up in my harness a little bit. I had a split-second opportunity, but I figured he'd stop out there, look around, maybe work his grave, do something. So he gets out in there and he literally turns and walks directly away from me. I had no shot, other than a Texas heart shot I wasn't gonna take. So he leaves and I'm thinking, of course. A couple minutes later I hear something in the woods. Here comes another buck. Same situation, he comes out. I see it's a nice brack buck, but I don't know who it is. So he comes out into my little opening in front of me. I come to full draw, and I'm 90% sure that's a really young, he's either a 9 or 10 pointer. I'm torn on whether he's a really, really big 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, but it's a deer we don't want to shoot. I think that's who it was, I'm not 100% certain. So I elected not to even attempt to stop him and shoot, because I was like unsure of what deer it was. And then they both jumped the fence and then made their way. They're headed down to those cut beans just like I thought. I mean, they did everything I wanted them to do except for stop in the wide open broadside. Unfreaking believable. That's just my luck, right? That's the way it always goes for me.
Good afternoon, guys. It is October 10th, and I am back heading towards a tree. Last time you guys saw me, we were down in Kentucky at the start of September, and here it is October 10th, and I have not been in a tree since. So, mainly 3 reasons why. 2 of which good, 1 bad. First one, I was in Saskatchewan on a waterfowl hunting trip of a lifetime. Unbelievable trip. We hunted for all sorts of ducks, pintails, mallards, snow geese, Canadas. We even shot cranes one day. And let me tell you, the rumors are true. They taste like steak. So if you ever get the opportunity to go up to Saskatchewan, waterfowl hunt, you will not be disappointed. Reason number 2, I closed on a house late in the summer here, and so I've been chipping it away, trying to get that into the beautiful living quarters that I want it to be. So between trips and weekends, I've been diving into that. And then, reason number 3, I found out that multiple 100-pound skid steer calves do not feel good when they fall on your arm. I was working on some equipment at work, and the safety lever gave and tried to catch the cab, so it didn't hit another fellow that I worked with, and bit my arm in the process. So I've got a fractured wrist. The bone is actually healed quite well, and the only thing I'm dealing with now is a little bit of nerve damage in my thumb. So maybe I won't punch the thumb button so bad. That would be the bright side. But I got cleared by the doctor just a couple days ago that I don't have to wear my splint. The only reason I'm going to wear it tonight is just because I haven't climbed a tree yet. So I don't know, hopefully a little bit of support can't hurt. But not going to lie, last week I shot my bow just to make sure I could do it without the doctor's approval. So I did confirm that I could draw 70 pounds, So we're on week 3 of the wrist fracture. It's feeling great. I'm feeling great. The weather's feeling great. It's a heck of a cold front here for early October, so I'm gonna make my way in. I'm on the opposite side of the cornfield, but it looks just like this. You got timber here on one side, some alfalfa, and corn on the other. So my wind's blowing to the west, or from the west to the east, I should say. So I'm gonna dive in on the other side. I don't know, guess we'll see what happens. Boy, that's a pretty good scrape right there. Looks like it's been freshly worked too. I'm gonna go right here in this hickory because it looks straight and it looks beautiful and open. So I don't think I'm gonna have to cut anything. This is gonna be nice. But there's kind of a larger destination food plot that way. And I've also got a small little rye food plot. You'll see there's a ground blind maybe over that way. But the wind's not right for it. So wind's kind of blowing nicely. And with this corn edge, really is gonna funnel them within like 15 yards of me. So hopefully a big buck or freezer queen. I am not gonna complain. I'm just ready to release an arrow. So gonna get busy here. That could not have worked any better. So they did pretty much opposite of what I thought they would do, but like I said, I thought there was a good chance that they still could come from the north and make their way down this way. Sure enough, I was watching a couple deer off in that little rye field. And I looked back and I could see a deer out in the middle. 1 became 2, 2 became 3. And I don't know if that was like a world record button buck or if it was just a very small 1.5 year old, but it looked like he had little tiny spikes sticking out of his head. I obviously wasn't paying too much attention to him just because I knew I wanted that freezer queen in the back. So he came right to the scrape. I was so afraid of how I was going to draw and get him on camera. So I kind of backed up the framing a little bit. I just rested, drew back, stopped her. Took her a couple bleeds to get her to stop. I think I put it on her already. It looked like it was behind the front shoulder, lower third. When she ran off towards this drainage, she seemed like she was kind of not feeling the best. So hopefully she went down quick. That other doe that was with her stood there and stared right where she had went in. And I didn't hear any thrashing or anything like that or any crash. It's kind of the unfortunate thing, but I'm going to go play back the footage here just to be sure, but it zipped right through her. And then as I was watching kind of everything unfold there, there's a nice buck out in that rye field. Look. There's a whole lot of deer coming. The freezer's filling up, boys. I had that whole parade of does coming right down the pipe, doing what I thought originally they would do. The other two kind of got behind some brush for me. It was perfect. She turned, quartered away. I put it right on her. She ducked right into it beautifully. And I knew that one smoked her good because she was really dragging right here. She died right behind the stand, 15 feet. She's practically right underneath me, so. Looking good. Alright, I know that track job number 2 is not very far. Oh, doe number 2. I'm gonna get her tagged and gutted quick and then go work on number 1. She went off that way. This doe managed to get herself in a jungle. I don't even know how I'm gonna get to her. I'll be entirely honest, I don't even remember where she was. Oh, I just fell. The doe ain't the only one bleeding. But there she is. I am gonna sleep well tonight. All right, guys, back at the chop shop. We got the cooler. We got doe number 2 on the scale first. And as you can see, chest cavity is clean. And she is 84.4 pounds. That is technically doe number 1. So I'm gonna get doe number 2 into the cooler. We'll get doe number 1 on the HME scale, see what she weighs. It is late, I'm getting close to bed, but we'll see what this one adds up to. I don't think they're gonna be any trophy doe winners, but they fill the freezer very quickly, so cannot complain one bit. Here we go. All right, well, guys, that's officially gonna do it. We got the last doe on the scale. Chest cavity is clean. She is at 108 on the nose, so I've got 2 big freezer queens going into the freezer right now, and I will process them after I age them for a few days here. But what better way to start my season, first sit of the year, and bam, I just punched 2 of my doe tags. So now I can sit back, relax. I've got the monkey off my back, and I can kind of focus on these big bucks that we're going to be chasing this fall. So I know Todd saw a very nice one tonight. Got into about 80 yards, and he wouldn't get any closer. So that's how it goes. But if you guys aren't taking advantage of these beautiful October cold fronts, you're missing out on some very, very fun action. But speaking of action, I got to get busy. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bowhunt or die.
Maybe we'll kill one tonight, maybe we won't, but we're certainly gonna try.